Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. Happy Valentine's Day to those that are out there with their loved ones. Right now, I'll be breaking down SP 500 E mini futures contract. I'll be breaking down from the weekly down into the daily. I'm gonna skip the monthly this time around. Monthly still balanced. Nothing's changed there. So we're gonna start with our weekly, go into the daily, and then kind of give you a bit of an update on my thought process. I'm gonna change the way the daily balance looks from what I said it was yesterday. But for now, weekly, let's go ahead and get into that one. And then we'll break down into today's price action, which was absolutely wild after the CPI data. CPI data came out 6.4 versus 6.2. Nothing wild, but it is an uptick for the first time in quite some time, actually. So we're going to be looking to see how for today the market digested in a very choppy manner, very volatile manner. But we'll be looking to see what tomorrow, how we digest, and then how we come out of this inside week. So as you can see, we've been trending down for the most part since last year, right? All year long, we trended down. Respected the trend line, had an outside week down, and that was the last that we've seen of it. Since then, we brought the weekly into a balance and then broke out of that balance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. Look, last week was an inside week, so we've gone up, trending up to balance. So now we're just trading inside of uh, the last month or the last week of January, inside of the last week of January range. So inside weeks for last week and this week so far, flagging to an extent, right? Kind of looking like a little bit of a flag. Don't know which way we're going to break out of this flag. Either way, if we break out of the balance to the upside, we should be good. If we break out of the balance to the downside, we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and mark this because I'm going to call it a balance for now. Last week's low, where is my data? There it is. All right, last week's low, 40, or the previous week's low, excuse me, not last week, but that in large range week, right? 40.29.50. So we're going to mark that 40.29.50. That way we can keep an eye on it. 40.29.50. And balance high so far 42.08.50. 42.08.50. Try to get in the ballpark that way I don't have to type as much. 42.08.50. We're just going to label. We're going to leave the labels out, but we're looking to come out of this balance, right? Looking to come out of this inside week to either the upside or to the downside. Let's get into the daily. The daily is now going to be in this balance. This is going to be our balance area as well because we have been so volatile and we've been just chopping around up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So we're going to call the weekly up to balance, and then we're going to call the daily balance in this large range. So I'm going to change the daily balance. This is what our daily balance looked like. Today we kind of tested the top of it and stretched it a little bit, if you were to call it that. But we're going to bring it back up here to where our previous 4-day balance high was, and kind of change it up here. So we're going to go back to 42.08.50 as our balance high. And then we're going to have, what was it, 40.49, right? Am I tripping? Stick with me, guys. 40.29.50, yes, 40.29.50 is our balance low. 40.29.50 is going to be our balance low. So we're changing it up from what we had was a 3-day, but because we've been so choppy and because it's an inside week for 2 weeks in a row now, either way will be one time framing up on the weekly and the daily if we come out of the balance to the upside, or will be one time framing down on the daily and the weekly if we come out of balance to the downside. So for now, we're just chopping inside this large range Right? You can say resistance here, right? You can say support here, however you want to label it. But for me, I label it as balance. So you got your resistance up here, you got your support down here, right? So if we were to label this red, right, that would be red. And if we were to label this green, that would be where we'd be looking to find buyers, looking to find sellers here, looking to find buyers here. Just chopping inside this range. So daily balance, right? Today was a pretty volatile day, and you can see that here on the candle as we took out the previous day's high and almost took out the previous day's low. So that just goes to show you, and I'll show you on the 30-minute time frame what that looks like. So balance has changed. It's going to be the same as the week, right? As that big week. So we're just trading inside that week, right? Give you guys one more look. I'm going to try to keep this thing short. Just trading inside of that week's range, looking to come out of it to either side. But so far, buyers have held their own. They've been holding inside this area. We've been doing well, looking to see which way we come out of it. All right, let's go down to our 30-minute time frame and show you guys how wacky this thing got. So after the CPI data came out today, we opened up right near the lower end of the upper distribution from the previous day. So if I were to get rid of all these destinations real quick, clear it up. That way it's not as wacky looking. Okay, so the bottom of the upper distribution was right here at 4130.50, and this 4130 level has been a massive level. So is the 4141 level that I've been talking about for quite some time. But 4130 has been a battle area for both the sellers and the buyers, both the bulls and the bears, right? Shorts and longs alike. Battle area here at 4130, looking to find acceptance either below or above it, same as 4141 level, which we've been looking to find acceptance above or below. But we opened up right near the lower end of the upper distribution. Pushed down into the lower, filling the sets of single prints that we had, the small sets that we had left. So if I were to bring up our destinations again, you can see here in A period, we filled those areas, right? Just moved right through them like butter and tipped our toe into the lower distribution. So the lower distribution was A's range, A's high to A's low. The upper was L's high to J's, or L's low to J's high, right? That was the upper distribution. This was the lower distribution. So we filled that set of single prints. Another thing to note here, but after we filled the sets of single prints here and dipped our toe into the lower distribution, we rejected, came back up, and got into the non-wide point of control. So yesterday I was saying if we opened up in the lower distribution and had enough supply, we'd fill those sets of single prints. But if we couldn't take out the previous day's low, we would rotate back up and get to that non-wide point of control. Thing acts as a magnet. And such we did. We got right to that non-wide point control, moved through it like butter, got to that previous day's high, took it out, had no issue taking it out, and then we continued to push up higher. Then B period opens up, almost had a lowest accepted price. We spike up, taking out two previous days high at the 4166.75 level and the 4168 level. We took out those two daily highs. See ya, gone. As soon as we did that, we backed off pretty heavy, pushed this thing down. And then after that, it was just a straight liquidation break to the downside. So early on, buyers attempted to have one time frame and up, but C period stopped that. We pulled back in and we took out the initial balance low. So right off the bat, things were pretty sketchy. Value was overlapping the lower at the time. We were chopping back and forth through the opening. They stopped one time frame and up, and then in D period was an inside bar, just chopped back and forth through the open. Not a lot there, and then finally we started a one time frame down in E period, putting a new low on the day. We attempted to go trend. As we got near the previous day's low, I was looking for it to break it and then potentially get down into this level wide point of control. But however, there wasn't much tempo or volume to push this thing to the downside, so we came back into range. The faded extreme here against the previous day's low was the play as we rotated back in. But sellers had a lot of things in their hand. They had overlap in the lower value. They began one time framing down. They had taken out the overnight low. They had the initial bounce low, and they had brought point of control from up here initially at 41.52. They brought it down to 41.3850. So 41.3850 was the point of control. Where was it at? Right in at D's high, right? So point of control got moved from here to here, okay? And then it got moved down again to 41.18 after E period. So we got 4 wide here, 41.18 after we attempted to go to trend. So sellers were lowering point of control, which is good, right? If you're a seller. And then we move it back up in F period to 41.29. And then we move it up later in the day to 41.31, G's high. And then we move it up again late in the day to K's low here at 41.44, where we end 8 wide. So not a very strong day for the sellers. Tough day to read. As you can see, very choppy action. I got absolutely smoked. Not a lot. Not a lot to discuss here. I'm not even going to review the trades that I took. Actually, I will review the trade that I lost on, actually. I made small in the short E period once we broke the day's low. I got short, made small on it, didn't make much. And then on the pushes up in F and in G period, I was shorting against the open. And the 144 simple moving average on the 1 minute chart at the time. I'd gotten not large size, but I was 3 mini contracts short. And if those things move a point against you, right, it's $50 per point. And it popped up pretty good in H period, stopped me out above the open, and I took a pretty hefty loss. And then I attempted to get short again after H spiked up really good against value high, and we didn't quite. It was chopping back and forth way too quick. I got way too big and got destroyed on the short side up here because I got short, and then this thing boomed, spiked up really good on me again. So took a pretty hefty loss. Something I got to work on is as my entries sometimes are way too soon, and I tend to hold way too long because I was actually in a profit because I was shorting around 29, 28, and 26 in G period and F period, and this thing pulled back into a 41.22. I was looking for it to get back down to where original POC was at 41.18, where I would have taken it off for about $1,000 profit. However, when it pulled back to 22, I was up roughly around $450. Didn't take the trade off because I was expecting us to pull back in, but should have seen the signs that sellers were not as strong and as present as they should have been in E period after not going trend. I should have taken it off the trade. I held way too long, and I paid the price for it. So that's something I got to work on. I need to work on taking the profits when it's there and stop being greedy, right? I mean, if you sit here for 30 minutes and you got $450 that gets put in front of you, you're probably going to take that $450, right? Instead, I ended up taking a $1,300 loss on the pop-up, and then even more so through H period. So let's go over destinations. Go ahead and mark them, and then let's get you guys out of here. So today's high is 41.70. 41.70 is today's high. Very hard day to read. Even Paul, from if you guys know, I talk about Paul all the time in the trading room. If you don't know him, check him out. Paul Asmar. He makes really good videos. 2 free ones in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. We have today's low down here at 4103.75. 4103.75 is our low day. Oh, turn that green. That's our low of day. You can call potentially J period and afternoon pullback low, but I'm not going to. I don't think it's very. We'll mark it just because it's that 4130 level, and once we pulled back there in J period, we didn't see it again in the later time frame, so we'll mark it for now as a visual area, but I'm not expecting it to hold if we were to pull back to it. We'll just see how we react to it. I would not base a trade on that area, as it could be pretty weak. So I'm not even going to label it as an afternoon pullback low, but we'll keep an eye on that area if we were to pull back to it. So tomorrow, if we open up inside today's range, 8Y point of control, we're not going to mark it because it's 8Y, we'd like 9 or better, just because it's a stronger point of control. So if we open up inside today's range tomorrow, you only have the day's high and the day's low to lean on. If we pull back to the day's low, can't take it out, you will rotate back up, maybe get to the AY point of control, take out today's high, and then work our way up to our balance high up here at 4208. We're actually going to make this a little bit thicker and label it our balance high as well. That way we know it's there, right? We're going to label it red 2 just to kind of make it stick out a little bit more. So that is our balance high. So if we open up, can't take out the day's high, rotate to the low, and take out today's low and the previous day's low at 4101.50, you will rotate down to 4087, 11Y point of control from the 10th. From there, your next destination is 4069.75, 4048.50, 4033.25, and then 4029.50, which is our balance low. And we'll thicken this up and label it balance low. That way, whenever we get to that point, we can know it's there. We're actually going to make it dashed so we know it's a little different, right? However, good possibility. We just chop inside this range, battle back and forth between 4130 and 4140. Good possibility we just chop around and digest the number of today. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is another long video. I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching them. If you do enjoy the video, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe. Maybe leave a comment below on what you guys think I should look at next. If you'd like for me to look at some stocks, I'd look at some stocks. Some names that you guys would like, just go ahead and put those down in the comments below. With all things being said, happy Valentine's Day. Catch you guys in the next one. See ya.